It's the kind of chaos no one saw coming. But now, the entire internet is reeling. Rumors are flying, videos are leaking, and fans are left stunned as whispers grow louder that two of love and hip-hop's biggest stars, Kirk Frost and Young Jock, have been arrested after a violent altercation that erupted on set. That's right. What was supposed to be just another routine shoot reportedly spiraled out of control, turning into a full-blown brawl that ended in handcuffs. And now, with the shocking video clip making rounds online, the entire reality TV world is in meltdown mode. Insiders are saying tensions have been building behind the scenes for weeks, but no one expected this. According to sources close to production, what started as a heated verbal exchange quickly turned physical, and within minutes, chaos unfolded right in front of the cameras. Screaming, pushing, security scrambling, and then sirens. Now fans are left wondering, what triggered this explosive showdown? Was it a personal betrayal, a business fallout, or something even deeper? And more importantly, what does this mean for the future of the show? Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning, and the details will leave you shocked. Under a tense, overcast sky, cameras were rolling on what was supposed to be a standard filming day for the latest season of Love and Hip Hop. Everything seemed business as usual. Producers barking orders, crews setting up lights, and cast members arriving on schedule. But beneath the surface, something was bubbling. An unspoken tension lingered between Kirk Frost and Young Jock. They exchanged glances, curt nods, and barely any words. For those on set long enough to read the room, it was obvious something wasn't right. Those close to production claimed that Kirk and Jock had been avoiding each other for weeks. Behind the scenes, whispers suggested the fallout began over a business deal gone wrong. Kirk had reportedly made some side moves involving a club promotion that Jock believed he was supposed to be a part of. But Kirk allegedly cut Jock out without warning, and Jock wasn't about to let that slide. Things had been brewing slowly, passive-aggressive comments during confessional interviews, subtle jabs during group scenes, and finally, today, it all came to a head. The moment the director yelled action, it was like lighting a fuse. Kirk and Jock were both scheduled to film a casual scene at a lounge-style set where the cast was supposed to discuss upcoming ventures. Jock arrived late, his expression unreadable, and took a seat directly across from Kirk. They didn't speak at first. Then Kirk leaned forward and muttered something under his breath, too low for mics to catch, but loud enough to set Jock off. Jock slammed his hand on the table. "Say that again," he snapped, locking eyes with Kirk. The room went dead silent. Crew members froze. Rashida, sitting beside Kirk, instinctively reached for his arm, trying to calm him. Kirk, unmoved, repeated the line, this time louder. "I said you acting like you run things when you don't even own your name." Gasps echoed across the set. Jock stood up slowly. "You real brave today, Kirk," he said, voice rising. "Real brave for someone who been ducking me for 3 weeks." "Ain't nobody ducking you," Kirk fired back. "I just don't deal with clowns." Within seconds, chairs scraped the floor as the two men stood nose to nose. Security rushed in, but not fast enough. Jock shoved Kirk first, sending him stumbling back a few steps. Kirk recovered quickly and lunged forward, fists swinging. The cameras were still rolling as chaos erupted. The crew tried to intervene, but the fight was intense. Fists flew and furniture toppled. Even the other cast members, shocked and frozen at first, jumped in to try to separate the two. Rashida screamed Kirk's name repeatedly, her voice nearly drowned out by the commotion. Mona Scott, who wasn't even on set at the time, was called immediately. Producers were yelling into walkie-talkies. This wasn't just a scuffle. It had escalated into a full-blown brawl. What made everything worse was the fact that a member of the camera crew didn't stop filming. Instead, they followed the fight, catching every moment in crystal-clear footage. One producer even whispered, "This is gonna break the internet." But things spiraled too far. In the frenzy, Jock reportedly threw a punch that accidentally hit a security guard. That was the moment the network knew things had crossed the line. Within 20 minutes, law enforcement arrived. Police entered the building as Kirk and Jock were still being restrained in opposite corners of the set. Both looked battered and furious. Cops took statements from witnesses, asked for footage, and began separating those involved. Kirk shouted something toward Jock as officers let him out. "You finished, bro. Done in this industry." Jock, breathing heavily, didn't respond, but his expression said everything. This wasn't over. As word spread beyond the set, social media exploded. Someone leaked a short clip, just 6 seconds long, of the moment Kirk swung first. The clip hit Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok like wildfire. Fans were shocked. Many didn't believe it at first. "This gotta be scripted," one user commented, but others insisted it was too raw to be fake. Within an hour, the video had over 1 million views. Blogs picked it up. Love and hip-hop stars Kirk Frost and Young Jock involved in on-set altercation. One headline read, "Thames posted a blurry photo of both men being led away in cuffs." Commenters were ruthless, debating who was right, who started it, and what this meant for the future of the show. Meanwhile, Rashida was spotted outside the station, visibly distraught. Sources claimed she was yelling at producers, demanding answers, and threatening to walk off the show if Kirk wasn't released immediately. "This was supposed to be a business scene," she reportedly said, "not a damn war zone." Back inside, Kirk sat in an interrogation room, his knuckles bruised and face tense. Police asked him to recount the events. He repeated the same story, that he felt threatened, that Jock provoked him, and that he acted in self-defense. But with the video showing both men engaging physically, charges seemed likely. Jock was in a separate room, nursing a busted lip and a swollen eye. When asked for his version, he laughed bitterly. "Ask Kirk why he was so scared to face me like a man these past weeks," he said. "All this could have been handled off camera." Mona Scott, after being briefed, issued a private statement to the network. "This is not what we represent. We want drama, yes, but not violence, not arrests." She instructed the team to pause all shooting indefinitely while the situation was evaluated. But behind closed doors, there were whispers she might use the footage to boost ratings. Some crew members said she was already discussing how to spin the story for maximum engagement. "This is gold," one producer reportedly said, "as long as no one sues." Meanwhile, both Kirk and Jock were held overnight. Mugshots began to circulate online, making fans question whether their favorite reality stars had finally crossed a line they couldn't come back from. And as morning broke, the streets outside the station buzzed with paparazzi and fans. Everyone wanted answers. What really led to the fight? Who threw the first punch? And most importantly, would Kirk and Jock face real consequences? Or was this just another chapter in the wild world of reality TV? But just as Kirk was being prepped for release on bail, his phone buzzed with a message from a blocked number. The text read, "You think that was bad? Wait till you see what's coming next." His face turned pale. And that's where part one ends. The message on Kirk's phone sent a chill down his spine. As he sat quietly in the back of the police station, his hands still sore and his mind spinning from the events of the past 24 hours, he couldn't stop staring at that cryptic text. "You think that was bad? Wait till you see what's coming next." He didn't recognize the number. It was blocked, anonymous, but the threat was clear. Someone out there wasn't finished, and Kirk had no idea who it was or what they were planning. Meanwhile, across town, young Jock sat in the back seat of a black sub, his manager driving him away from the station after finally making bail. His face was bruised, his jaw aching, and yet his phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Calls, texts, DMs, all of them either from reporters, fans, or people pretending to care. Jock ignored most of them. The only thing he cared about now was the damage done to his career, his reputation, and more importantly, his pride. "You want to go home?" his manager asked quietly. Jock shook his head. "Nah, take me to the studio. I got something to get off my chest." By mid-morning, both Kirk and Jock were trending across all social media platforms. The leaked video now had over 5 million views. Hashtag #KirkShock was the top hashtag on Twitter. Fans were divided, some blaming Kirk, others taking Jock's side, and many just shocked that things had gone that far. What no one expected, however, was that a second, longer video was about to be leaked. And this time, it wasn't just fists being thrown. Back in the editing bay of the Love and Hip Hop production studio, a low-level assistant named Trey had been quietly watching the raw footage. His job was to catalog and label scenes for the editors. But when he stumbled across an uncut clip that hadn't yet been secured by producers, he hesitated. The camera angle showed a behind-the-scenes moment, recorded before the fight. Kirk and a producer were talking privately, unaware that the mic was still hot. In the clip, Kirk could be heard saying, "I told Mona I ain't filming with Jock no more. He's reckless, he's sloppy, and he thinks this show can't run without him." The producer replied, "You sure you want to go that route? That'll piss him off." Kirk responded, "Let him be pissed. I got dirt on him that'll finish him off if he tries me." Trey sat frozen. His heart raced. He knew if he leaked this, he'd lose his job, but it would also expose a whole new layer to the drama. And in the world of viral content, timing was everything. 3 hours later, the video was online. Fans went crazy. The clip showed that Kirk had been planning to cut ties with Jock before the fight. And more than that, it revealed Kirk was sitting on some kind of secret. Twitter exploded with theories. What dirt does Kirk have on Jock? Did Kirk start the fight on purpose? This show getting crazier every day. Jock saw the clip from the studio and nearly knocked over his mic in disbelief. "This fool been plotting?" He muttered. "Nah, I ain't letting this slide." He called his manager. "Get my lawyer on the phone and tell Mona we need to talk." Mona Scott, now under pressure from the network, scheduled an emergency meeting with both Kirk and Jock separately. Her goal was to calm things down, figure out if filming could resume, and most importantly, find a way to turn this into a ratings win without crossing any legal lines. Kirk arrived first. He wore sunglasses to hide the swelling around his eye, and his expression was stone cold. Mona greeted him with a hug, which he didn't return. "What's going on, Kirk?" she asked gently. "You tell me," he replied. "Why is footage leaking from your studio? Who's playing games?" "We're handling it internally," she assured him. "But I need to know. What's this about you having dirt on Jock?" Kirk hesitated, then leaned in. "I got receipts, text messages, deals he made behind the scenes trying to get me off the show. He been moving foul." "So this was personal," Mona said. "It's always been personal," Kirk snapped. Hours later, Jock had his own sit-down with Mona. Unlike Kirk, he came in loud, animated, and ready to fight. Verbally this time. "You let him talk all that trash and didn't stop it?" he demanded. "You knew he was trying to play me." Mona raised her hands. "Jock, I didn't know about the messages. I didn't know he was planning anything. I just want to fix this before the network pulls the plug." "Nah, we ain't fixing nothing until I get to tell my side." The next day, a new video appeared online, this time posted from Jock's own verified Instagram. It was a selfie video recorded in his studio. "Let me make one thing clear," he began. "I didn't start that fight. I didn't want that fight. But I ain't no punk. And I ain't gonna let someone throw dirt on my name without clapping back." He then paused dramatically. "Since Kirk wanna talk about dirt, maybe it's time I share what I know." That last line sent fans into a frenzy. Thousands flooded the comments, waiting for details. Hashtags like #SpiltTheTea and #JocksRevenge began trending. And for the first time in days, Jock was winning the public support battle. Kirk, seeing the tide shift, called Rashida into his home studio. She had barely spoken to him since the arrest. Her face was still tight with disappointment. "I need you to stand with me on this," Kirk told her. "Stand with you?" she repeated. "You almost threw your whole career away over some petty beef." "It ain't petty if he been trying to get me fired." Rashida shook her head. "You need to fix this, not for the cameras, for us." As Kirk and Rashida argued behind closed doors, the pressure outside kept growing. The network was demanding answers. Advertisers were threatening to pull funding if violence kept dominating headlines. Mona was walking a tightrope, trying to balance the chaos with the promise of sky-high ratings. Then, just when it seemed like things couldn't get any messier, another anonymous message hit Kirk's phone. This one had no text, just a video file. Kirk opened it, his hands trembling. The clip showed him, months earlier, in a private conversation with a mystery woman. The audio was fuzzy, but clear enough to hear him say, "I don't care what the contract says. I'll find a way to cut Jacques out. He's dead weight." Kirk's face went pale again. Someone was sitting on a whole vault of damaging content, and they were releasing it piece by piece. Meanwhile, back at Jacques' studio, he received a package. No return address. Inside, an US drive and a note that read, "You're not the only one Kirk betrayed." Jacques plugged the drive in and began watching. His jaw slowly dropped as the footage played, this time showing Kirk in meetings with network execs, pushing for Jacques' scenes to be cut. Everything suddenly made sense. As part 2 ends, both Kirk and Jacques realize they're not just fighting each other anymore. They're fighting someone in the shadows, someone who wants both of them to crash and burn. And the worst part, they still don't know who it is. The air was heavy, the tension almost unbearable. Kirk paced back and forth in his living room, the video still playing in the background, his own voice echoing through the speakers like a ghost from the past. Each word, each sentence, a reminder that someone had been watching him, recording him, setting him up. And now, the world was watching too. His phone buzzed again. This time, it was a notification. Another video had just dropped. But it wasn't about him. It was about Rashida. Kirk's eyes widened as he tapped the screen. The video was grainy, shot from a distance but unmistakable. It showed Rashida having an emotional conversation with a man Kirk didn't recognize. The man reached out, touching her arm, comforting her as she cried. The caption read, "Is Rashida seeking comfort from someone new?" Kirk felt the blood drain from his face. He knew Rashida had been distant lately, but was this real or another move in whatever twisted game was being played? At the same time, Jacques stared blankly at the files on the US drive. His heart raced as he clicked through folders labeled with names, dates, and even episode titles. Someone had archived years of behind-the-scenes footage, including secret recordings, producer notes, and cast gossip. This wasn't just about Kirk. This was about the entire show. One file caught his attention. Jacques_confession_room. Before he clicked it, the screen lit up with an old clip. Himself sitting in the confessional chair, talking to a producer. He remembered this day. It was when he almost quit the show after a heated argument with another cast member. In the video, he said something he never thought would see the light of day. "This show ain't worth my sanity. If Kirk keep pushing my buttons, one day I'm gonna snap. And if I do, don't act surprised." Jacques sat back stunned. That clip, taken out of context, would make him look like the aggressor. It painted a picture that someone could easily twist to destroy his image. And whoever had leaked the fight video clearly had no problem releasing whatever served their agenda. A knock at the door pulled him from his thoughts. It was his lawyer. "We got a problem," she said immediately. "The network's lawyers are reviewing all the footage. They're trying to figure out if they can drop both of you from the show." Jacques stood up. "What? They can't do that. We are the show." "Maybe," she replied, "but they're under pressure. Advertisers are pulling out, and the board wants this mess cleaned up fast." Meanwhile, Mona Scott was on a conference call with the network. Her voice was calm, but underneath, she was fuming. The chaos had spiraled beyond her control, and she hated that. "We can fix this," she insisted. "We spin it as a redemption arc." Kirk and Jacques working through their issues. Fans love a comeback. The exec on the line wasn't convinced. They assaulted each other on camera. That's not just bad press, that's a liability. "Then let me handle it my way," Mona said. "Give me 1 week." After the call ended, Mona called Trey, the assistant editor who'd leaked the first video. She didn't know for sure it was him, but her gut told her he was involved. "I need you to find out who has the rest of the footage," she said calmly. "And if it's you, now's the time to come clean." Trey hesitated. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me, she snapped. You think this is a game? Careers are on the line. You want to be next. Trey stayed silent. Later that evening, Kirk finally confronted Rashida. What's this video going around? He asked, holding out his phone. She looked at it, her eyes narrowing. You really think I'm messing around behind your back? I don't know what to think anymore. Kirk replied, first the fight, now this. I don't even know who's pulling the strings. Rashida sighed. That man's a therapist. I went to him because I needed someone to talk to. Someone who's not in this toxic circle. You should have told me. Like you told me about plotting against Jock? Or all the other secrets you've been keeping? They stared at each other, the room filled with silence and years of unresolved tension. Across town, Jock received an unexpected visitor. His ex, Carly. She had seen everything unfold online and decided to check on him. You okay? She asked softly. He shrugged. Depends on what video you've seen today. She sat beside him. You know this whole thing. It feels bigger than you and Kirk. Someone's trying to tear this whole show down. Yeah, he said. And I think I know who. He pulled out the US drive. This was sent to me anonymously. But there's only one person who would know all this stuff. One person who was there from the beginning. Who? Carly asked. Jock hesitated. Stevie J, her eyes widened. Stevie? Think about it, Jock continued. He's been off the show for a while. Disappeared after that fallout with Mona. He knows the ins and outs, the dirt, the secrets. What if he's trying to blow the whole thing up? But why? Carly asked. Revenge, exposure, maybe both. Back at Mona's office, she received an email from an untraceable account. The subject line, you thought you could play God with people's lives. Now watch it all fall apart. Attached was a video of her from years ago in a heated conversation with Kirk and another producer. In the clip, she's heard saying, drama sells. If they hit each other, so what? We blur it out, throw in some sound effects, and watch the numbers climb. Mona's heart sank. The video would ruin her if it got out. She picked up her phone and called Kirk. We need to meet. Now. Kirk agreed. The meeting was set for midnight in a private back room of a club they used to shoot in. But before the meeting, Kirk received another message. This one was different. A photo. A still image from the club's security camera showing Kirk standing alone, waiting. And behind him, a shadowy figure. As Kirk looked closer, his breath caught. The figure was familiar. Too familiar. He called Jock immediately. We're not enemies, man, Kirk said. We're being played. Jock hesitated, then said, I know. And just like that, enemies became allies. Because the real threat wasn't each other anymore. It was whoever had been watching them all along. And now, they were ready to step out of the shadows. Jock arrived at the club first. He stood by the bar, scanning the dimly lit room, every shadow making him uneasy. He hadn't been back here in months, not since that infamous episode where Kirk had called him out on live television. Tonight felt different though. This wasn't about ratings or scripted drama. This was real. Real fear, real danger, real consequences. Kirk walked in 5 minutes later, eyes darting around as if expecting someone to jump out. The two locked eyes and exchanged a brief nod. No words, just a silent understanding that everything had changed. They made their way to the back room where Mona was already waiting, pacing like a storm ready to break. She didn't greet them, didn't smile, just looked up and got straight to the point. You two have officially become liabilities. I've been doing damage control around the clock. If this mess gets worse, the network won't just fire you, they'll blacklist you. Kirk leaned against the wall, arms crossed. You think we don't know that? Someone's trying to ruin all of us. This ain't just about the fight anymore. Mona looked skeptical until Jock stepped forward and placed the US drive on the table between them. Watch this, he said simply. Mona plugged it into her laptop. As the files opened, her face changed. Shock, confusion, then a flicker of fear. She clicked through folders full of unseen footage, confessional tapes, unreleased scandals, and producer instructions to instigate certain cast members. It was all there, years of secrets, enough to take the whole franchise down. She turned to Jock and Kirk. "Where did you get this?" Kirk replied, "Someone sent it to him anonymously. But we think it's Stevie J." Moma's expression turned ice cold. "Stevie wouldn't dare." Jock shook his head. "He disappeared for a reason, and he's been quiet way too long. Maybe he's been collecting all of this while we were out here fighting for scraps." Before Mona could respond, her phone buzzed. She picked it up and went pale. Another video had been leaked, this one of Mona herself, telling a producer to stage a fake arrest scene involving Kirk and Jock to boost ratings. "Get the cuffs, get the drama," her voice said on the video. "Make it look real enough to go viral." The leak had hit a major gossip blog, and the comment section was already exploding. Kirk's phone buzzed too. Fans were now accusing them of faking the fight and manipulating the audience. The narrative was spiraling out of control. Mona slammed her laptop shut. "We need to get ahead of this. Do an interview, a press release, something." Jock interrupted. "Nah, not this time. Every time we lie to cover up another lie, we dig ourselves deeper. We need to find whoever's behind this and stop them before they leak something we can't come back from." Kirk nodded in agreement. "They're coming after us piece by piece. First the fight, then Rashida, now you. Who's next?" Mona sighed, the weight of it all crashing down on her. "Then we find Stevie. If he's behind this, we end it tonight." Meanwhile, somewhere across the city, a figure sat in a dark room, illuminated only by the glow of multiple screens. The mysterious sender watched the chaos unfold online, each notification a reminder that their plan was working. They clicked on another video file, this one labeled Jock_Kirk_secret_meeting. The footage showed the very conversation happening right now at the club, recorded through a hidden camera planted in the room. The figure smirked. They were, "After all these years, what do you want?" Benzino leaned back, arms crossed. "Revenge. But not just for me, for everyone you left behind. You think you're the kings of this franchise? The untouchables? Nah, man. You're just the latest clowns in a never-ending circus." Jock took a step forward, voice shaking with anger. "You almost ruined our lives, leaked our private convos, set us up, turned everyone against us." Benzino raised an eyebrow. "Almost?" He tapped a key on the laptop. Suddenly, screens around the warehouse flickered to life, showing footage. Kirk arguing with Rashida about cheating rumors, Jock in a screaming match with his ex Mona planning cast firings behind closed doors. "This is just a preview," Benzino said. "I've got hundreds of hours, and the press is hungry." Kirk clenched his fists. "What's your price?" Benzino laughed. "I don't want money. I want exposure. I want the world to see the truth. I want to watch everything you built burn." Jock stepped closer. "And you think people will believe a disgraced ex-cast member over us?" Benzino's smile didn't fade. "They already do. Look online. Your fans have turned. Sponsors are backing out. Even the network's panicking. I don't need to convince anyone. The chaos speaks for itself." Just then, Mona's voice echoed through a hidden speaker. "He's bluffing," she said. She had hacked into the feed through her phone. "I traced the server. He has the footage, yes. But it's all stored in one location, and I just triggered a purge protocol. In 60 seconds, every file on that drive will delete permanently unless you stop it." Benzino's eyes widened. He rushed to the laptop, frantically typing. Kirk and Jock moved in. "It's over," Kirk said. "You had your moment. Now it's done." But Benzino wasn't ready to surrender. From under the table, he pulled a small pistol, pointing it at Kirk. The air froze. Jock raised his hands. "You really gonna shoot us? On camera?" Benzino's hand trembled. "I lost everything because of y'all. My name, my brand, my family. All gone." Kirk stayed calm. "And this won't bring any of that back." Just then, Mona triggered the feed one last time. The countdown appeared on the screens. 10 seconds left. Benzino stared at it, then at Kirk, then dropped the gun. and slumped into the chair. "Do it," he muttered. The files vanished. The screens went black. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. Mona had tipped off the authorities, and the police were minutes away. Benzino didn't resist. He just sat there broken. As officers swarmed the building, Kirk and Jock stepped outside, the early morning sun casting long shadows behind them. "We survived," Jock whispered. Kirk nodded. "Barely, but the battle wasn't over." Though the main files were gone, the internet never forgets. Fragments of the videos remained on gossip blogs, fan pages, and shady forums. Their reputations were still in question, and the damage would take months, maybe years, to fix. Mona arranged a private sit-down interview with a major news outlet where they explained their side of the story. Kirk spoke honestly about the pressure of fame, the manipulation from producers, and how they had lost themselves chasing ratings. Jock admitted to his regrets, to his temper, and to being blind to the bigger picture. The interview went viral. Fans were divided. Some praised their honesty, others accused them of spinning the story. But one thing was clear, they weren't going down without a fight. Over the following weeks, Mona launched a new digital series called Reality Unfiltered, giving cast members a platform to tell their real stories, unedited and raw. Kirk and Jock became regulars, opening up in ways the audience had never seen. The response was overwhelming. For the first time in years, fans saw them as human, not characters but people. Behind the scenes, Benzino faced a slew of charges: cybercrime, blackmail, illegal surveillance. Though he claimed to have acted alone, rumors swirled that others were involved. Some speculated that former producers, bitter ex-cast members, and even rival networks had backed him. But nothing was proven. The mystery remained partly unsolved, adding another layer to the already wild story. As for Kirk and Jock, they took a break from filming. They focused on family, healing, and rebuilding. Kirk spent time with Rashida, attending therapy and trying to repair what was left of their relationship. Jock reconnected with his kids, vowing to be more present. Both stayed mostly off social media, letting the dust settle. And slowly, the scandal began to fade from headlines. But the experience changed them. No longer obsessed with fame, they started talking about producing their own content, real content, something authentic. A project that gave back to the community instead of tearing it apart. Mona, surprisingly, supported the idea. Maybe it was guilt, or maybe she saw a new business opportunity. Either way, they began planning something new, something honest. Still, every now and then, Kirk would get a message from an unknown number. No words, just an emoji or a blurry screenshot. Reminders that the past never fully disappears, that someone out there still watched, still waited. But this time, Kirk wasn't afraid. He and Jock had faced the worst, lost everything, and still stood. And no matter what came next, another scandal, another leak, another betrayal, they were ready. Ready to tell their own story, their own way. And this time, they were in control. And just like that, what started as a simple backstage argument between Kirk Frost and young Jock spiraled into one of the most shocking and chaotic scandals reality TV has ever seen. From viral fights and leaked videos to hidden betrayals and a mysterious revenge plot, this story had everything: drama, emotion, and a truth nobody saw coming. The arrest, the confession, the confrontation with Benzino. It all played out like a movie. But for Kirk and Jock, this was real life. And even though they managed to survive the storm, the scars it left behind may never fully fade. But here's the real question. Did Kirk and Jock truly redeem themselves? Or was this just another calculated move in the reality TV game? Are they victims of manipulation and betrayal, or were they part of the chaos all along? And what about Benzino? Was he a villain, or just another casualty of a toxic system built on ratings and fame? We want to hear from you. Do you think Kirk and Jock deserve a second chance? Should reality TV finally change how it handles drama and real lives? Or is this just the nature of the beast? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We're reading everything. Don't forget to like this video if you were shocked by the twists, and hit that subscribe button for more explosive updates behind-the-scenes stories, and the real tea on your favorite stars. Trust us, what's coming next will leave you speechless. Because in the world of reality TV, nothing stays buried for long, and the next scandal is always just one camera angle away. Stay tuned.